All right. All right. What the shit? Oh my god. What an absolute shit show. Lat Martins, thanks for the sub. I appreciate you. Um the game woke up. I think that's fair to say. And I think most of the credit should go to Tucker. I don't want to get it twisted. I do believe right now, in the bottom of my heart, that Tucker's the worst Big Brother player of all time. I believe that. But I don't want him to go anywhere. I might eventually. Kate of Spades, thanks for the sub. I appreciate you. Sala, thanks for the resub. 8 months. Joseph isn't even a threat. We'll vote on who we agree as a community we should all vote for. And I ask for solidarity. Of course, you can break away from that, but you will be shamed in the streets. Can you turn the music off? How dare you? You know whose music we're turning off right now? Andy said to vote Quinn. If we all took Andy's advice for all things, I don't know. I don't know the state of the nation. The music's hyping me up. All right. Well, we'll get into the news in a bit. I've got some news set up. I'm sure most of you guys know the deal. You want to run through the Twitter streets quickly? See what I've been saying? So, you know, I was kind of popping off today, tweet after tweet after tweet. First of all, I tweeted this last night. I think this part is absolutely fucking brutal. Like, so brutal. Like, obviously on my season, we had Path to Power, and the way it worked was the top 4 people were voted. And, you knew if you were top 4, and you knew if you weren't top 4. Interestingly, you didn't even know who else was top 4, right? The way this vote works, you only vote on your least favorite person. So everybody in the house is going to know Quinn, or whoever gets voted, is America's least favorite player. They're going to know it. I think it's going to be fucking devastating. Like, really, really devastating. Especially for, like, a super fan, right? Which it has to be someone, and whoever it is going to be very upset, but technically it's Angela. I mean, they're not going to have the context. I'm sure Quinn's going to assume his whole feud with Angela has made him look like a bad guy. Thank you, little Lisa, for the 8 months. So this part of it is brutal. I just know myself in the house how much I was thinking about perception and hoping, it wasn't like my priority, make sure I'm beloved, but like you don't want to get an indication that you're hated. That's a very scary thing. Then I kind of kept going, and I said Tucker being evicted would be the biggest unforced error in Big Brother history, barring those ejected, and despite his good social and physical game, he might be the worst player of all time. Now, I think a lot of people read this part, and they're like, what do you mean barring his social and physical game? Like, because of those aspects, clearly he's not the worst player of all time. I think it's because of those reasons he's the worst player of all time. Like, he's so good at these other important aspects of the game, yet he's so horrible strategically that he's probably going to be evicted this week or next week. If he's not evicted this week, Quinn's just going to be HOH next week and evict him. I was not planning on streaming today. I just wanted to talk about this. So look, do I actually believe Tucker's the worst player of all time? I think I do. Someone could probably make an argument to me. I'll be like, yeah, well, maybe this person's worse, but this is ridiculous. Because there's a difference between being like Kenny and being passive and wanting to quit, and Tucker, who's so actively, aggressively bad. And I don't want you to think I'm hating on Tucker, because I think Tucker has been an absolute gold mine casting. Like dream casting. What about Lawan? I think Lawan is significantly better at Big Brother than Tucker. Significantly better. Jose or Devin, not even close. Not even close to Tucker. I think we are burying the lead here. Tucker didn't use the veto on himself after volunteering for the block. Like, you could talk about all these other people going on power trips, making really bad decisions. Devin adding 9 people to the alliance without permission. He didn't use the veto on him. That's like worse than Marcellus. It is so much worse than Marcellus, because at least Marcellus has the excuse of it was Big Brother 3. Like when everyone else is like, oh, you should use the veto on yourself, they point to Marcellus. Marcellus didn't have anyone to point to. They just introduced that version of the veto like very recently that season. He didn't even use it on Kenny, no. He used it on Angela. Actual bad players don't make the social bonds that Tucker has. My whole point is like, he has the social bonds. Like, he's good socially, and yet still his strategic game is so transcendently bad. I still think he's in this conversation. He should be great. He should be good. Well, now his social bonds are cooked. Like, it's over at this point, but so what's happening? There's Tucker and Rabina. Let's listen. And Tucker's saying he wants to win the game right now. Like, no, you don't. Sorry, I'm not allowed to show the feeds. Whoops. Whoopsies. You cannot hear anything. You're not allowed to hear anything, but I'm listening. Who's playing the best floater game right now? Is anyone playing a floater game? Would you? I mean, is Tikor a floater? Like, her side of the house hasn't formed. There's no alliance. Brooklyn, maybe Brooklyn. It's hard. Like, everyone's kind of a floater, except for like the Pentagon, maybe. Good on MJ for using the power. Look, she convinced me for a second she wasn't going to use it, and she was going to be really competing with Tucker for that worst player of all time moniker. But she used it. Well done, MJ. I've not had too much nice to say about your game ability, but that was a good call. She only used it because Tucker didn't use it on himself. Look, small victories. We take it. Cedric and Brooklyn are chatting. Oh my god. Let's go. I'm a little bit behind, but it's alright. Your rankings are going to be tough tomorrow. It's going to be fucking brutal. Quinn's game is kind of sunk, though. I'm I'm way behind in the feeds. Keeping Quinn is a very obvious choice at this point, yeah. I don't think if Quinn gets put up, he's in any real danger. I think Tucker's kind of a pariah now. Kenny is still Kenny. I don't think he's in virtually any danger. At this point, things can change. Is going to bond the collective. I could very much see that, yeah. Would you trust someone who has been voted by America to go on the block? Yeah. I feel like I tried to have a strong sense of like my own thoughts in the House. Like, if America voted someone who I was aligned with, if I didn't think they were a bad person or deserved it, it wouldn't affect anything for me. It might affect my own behavior if I was voted, for sure. They're all saying vote Tucker out over Kenny. They're all saying vote Tucker over Kenny. He's so bad. Tucker is so terrible. It's obviously the right move, too. No, Brooklyn did not say you're at a Quinn. Who would want to work with Tucker now? How was that Tucker and Robina conversation? Was it as awkward as it looked? Tucker blew himself up for no. I can't stress like what makes it such a bad move is it was so unnecessary and so unforced. Like when Jared did all of his unforced, ridiculous stuff week 6 last year, trying to. There was at least like kind of a goal in mind to turn people against me in America. What was Tucker's goal? Like, okay, if he wants to get rid of Quinn and flush the power, I get that. Why does he need to volunteer himself for the block? And why does he have to keep himself on the block with the veto? It's just to beat Quinn in the AI arena? And then after he's told Quinn's not going to go up, he doubles down and says, well, it's too late. It's like, no, the ceremony hasn't happened yet. It's actually not too late. Can we agree that none of the guys are winning the game? Not yet. I'm not. I still think, like, you know my secret opinion? I'm kind of high on Cedric right now. I really don't hate the way he handled this with Quinn. I don't know if I'm crazy for that. Hello.
Hello. What's going on?
Cedric and Brooklyn chatting. Tucker goes against Kenny if they're on the block.
Good.
Yep.
I don't like Tucker.
I'm a big Cedric fan. I think Cedric's probably my honestly, he's probably my favorite person to watch on feeds. I really enjoy his presence on the episodes too. I like him in the DR. His energy is super like over the top, but it seems authentic to me. Quality control might be the go. I don't know about that. Cedric was very much considering putting up Quinn. And I think Quinn's game is in a really rough spot. The nice thing is he has an HOH week to try to recover. Problem is he puts up Angela, Kenny, and Mackenzie probably are his noms, right? Assuming Tucker's gone. If Kenny's gone, it'd be Tucker, Angela, and MJ. I think right now my vote. Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it when I do the news. Unless Cedric pulls someone interesting in for a one-on-one right now, we'll do it. Cedric about to call in like Joseph. All right. Cedric's looking for someone to call in. Quinn has to use his power next week. Yeah. Well, he doesn't have to. He could just not use it. But I think like that's the power of Quinn's power. You know what I mean? Like right now, it's not a huge threat that he has to get rid of, or that everyone else has to get rid of because he has to use it one episode. Pardon. He has to use it next week. So like, it's not like you're letting this guy with the power sneak later into the game. You're just ensuring Quinn wins HOH next week, which is a good compromise for most people. Please, no more Kenny on the feeds. Yeah, honestly. Quinn's bugging out. He should use it to ensure his safety and do whatever HOH nominates, or whatever the HOH wants. I mean, everyone knows he has the power, so he should just treat it like a normal HOH for himself. I don't gotta watch Cam and Leah. Yeah, all right. You want to get into the news? BBN. All right. It's getting too hot in here. The way you feel about Quinn is how we felt about you so often. Hey, oh, fuck, he's talking to Joseph now. Show some respect to me. I was killing it through week 3. Then things started to fall off a cliff. First 3 weeks, though, whew, Cory fan was a good life. I don't want to hear it. You were good for 6 weeks. Weeks 4 and 5 were dicey. In fairness, Lola, Suri and them agreed to vote out everyone every week. So, like, obviously I shouldn't have thrown it, but, you know. Everyone was aware of Izzy and Suri. The collective is kind of back, by the way. They were talking earlier today in this Pentagon meeting. Like, let's bring the collective as far as we can. Let's bring Joseph. Let's bring Chemo. Let's bring T-Core. Which, if that ends up happening, Quinn all of a sudden is not in that bad of a spot. I'm happy for Joseph. Joseph's under the radar again. Since there's so many eligible pawns, he's not going up. He's not volunteering. Why exactly is Cedric doing one-on-ones? Like, I appreciate it, but it's not an obligation's crazy. Is Chemo, Rabina, and T-Core? Alright, what's happening? Who would I align with in this house? Everyone. I would try to do the Quinn thing. I don't know if I'd be successful. Is that Chelsea? I think it's Chelsea. Rabina, Chemo, Chelsea. MJ did use her veto, yeah. tell you what, Rabina's stocks are plummeting, unfortunately. Rabina's stocks are way, way down. It's not like she's done anything horrible, but the collective being a thing is really bad for Rabina. Did Taryn have a sub chat? Sub only chat, maybe? All right, y'all tell me if there's important stuff happening on the feeds. I'm gonna report the news right now. That's all right. So today was a shit show. It's been a couple shit show days in a row. I guess the place to start is with Tucker, who is an absolute madman. Obviously, we talked about yesterday Tucker's big master plan. He wins the veto. He's not going to use it on himself. That'd be too easy. He's going to use the veto on Angela with the goal of having Quinn be the replacement nom. He went to Cam and told Cam about Quinn's power, and went to Cedric and told Cedric about Quinn's power. All with the idea of like, hey, why did Quinn not tell you? We should get rid of him now because he can't use his power and he has to use it next week, so we should get rid of it before it can happen. Kind of a logical plan, somewhat. And his idea is I'm going to stay on the block, number one, because I'm bored. That's a quote. Number two, because I can beat him in the AI arena. That gives us a better shot of getting Quinn out of the house. It was kind of like Tucker and Kenny were the main proponents of this plan. And they were going up to Cedric, and they convinced Cedric, seemingly. At least Cedric was placating them. It seemed like he was truly down. He was kind of, for the rest of the night, playing the field, trying to figure out how a Chelsea, how a Brooklyn might feel about this potential situation. Uh-oh. No, they're leaving the bathroom. No. Oh, Joseph Quinn combo. Wait, lock in. These two always talk at the shower. Uh-oh, Quinn mentioned Taryn again. Hate thread. Open up. Uh-oh. I think he said he's going to have more content for his deep dive with Taryn. All right, everyone. Quinn just received an extra 1,000 votes for least favorite house guest. Uh-oh. Leah is mad. What's happening here? I don't listen to their conversations usually. Is this what me and America were like? Be honest. No, we never argued like this, really. We had some awkward moments, but it was never like this. About game stuff, I feel like we were always able to talk pretty well. And I will say, like, America never found out about a lot of the stuff I was doing to hurt her game, and I did find out about everything that America did to hurt my game during the house. And I wouldn't, like, it's not my nature to, like, fight. So I'm not going to confront America, and America didn't, I guess, know enough to be able to confront me. Is that Jared and Blue were? Jared and Blue, I think, was a little worse than this. All right, well, back to Tucker. Back to Tucker. This is his plan. Cedric's feeling it out. We go to bed. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. It seems like the plan has landed on putting up MJ, but who can really say? Cedric, Angela? Shit. All right, you know what? Let's just dial in. Let's just dial in, whatever. It's fine. You know what? We'll get to the news when we get to the news. I'm not in a rush. Good for Angela being off the block. Hmm. So is Angela blindsided by being taken off the block? Oh, but there's a Brooklyn Tucker conversation that's probably more important. She was blindsided. It's so funny. Angela masterminded this. I don't know if I'd go that far. Damn, Angela's asking some direct ass questions. You'd think Angela's HOH by the way this conversation's going. Angela Quinn final two. It would be very me and Felicia, very Kevin Jacobs and Betty, Kevin Martin and Karen. Stray it, Matt. Why is Leah mad at Cam? They're both leaking information about each other. MJ also told you, Cedric. I don't know why he's hiding that fact. This is such a weird conversation. Like, the Cedric Angela one-on-one is so unimportant. Matt's gonna make a TikTok. I think Matt's singing TikTok was awesome. I need more content like that at a Big Brother alum. Really put yourself out there like that. That was really good. Take my whiskey. All right. Let's see if I can cram a little bit more news in. Nope, they're back. Teehee. Brooklyn doesn't want to keep Tucker. I'll be honest. I don't care about either of these conversations happening right now. This is Tucker's plan. Cedric goes to bed. It seems like the plan is to put up MJ, but he's definitely entertaining it. It seems like Chelsea and Brooklyn wouldn't be down, but he's not being super forward with what the plan would be. He's kind of just saying, we don't trust Quinn that much. And this all kind of comes to a head with this guy, Quinn, the backdoor target. He's aloof to this entire thing. He's been having his own little saga about his power where everyone in the house seemingly, or not everyone, but a lot of people know about his power. At this point, everyone does. Cam knew, Cedric knew, and they're all like, why is Quinn telling other people and not telling us? We're theoretically in the Pentagon. Cedric secretly is probably like, we have quality control. We're in a final two. Why isn't he telling me? And they're goading Quinn into giving him the information. Like, really directly. Hey, Quinn, who do you think has the second power? Quinn, do you think it's like, do you think the power is fake? It's probably pretty deep. You know what I mean? Like, that's the energy of this conversation. And Quinn doesn't fold, which I'm very impressed by, because I think Quinn's reputation this season has been bro spills every piece of information he receives. For some reason, the one moment in the game where he desperately needs to spill the information, can't open his mouth. It's so odd to me. But he keeps it quiet, and that makes people even more suspicious of Quinn. Like, what the fuck's the deal? He's really not telling us, even though we all know he has the power. Obviously, Quinn doesn't know that, but same thing. He has a conversation with Joseph, and Joseph, they're bonding about Taron Armstrong and Cory Wertenberger's Twitch stream and their fandom. Joseph goes, dead ass, though. Do you have the power? He goes, no. So that's another part of the saga. This happens this morning, and this is not the exact picture. I think this is them initially like locking in the alliance. But the Pentagon met. I was playing basketball. I had to go get my phone, put it on my AirPods. Definitely messed up my jumper. Kind of unlucky. And the Pentagon met. And the goal of this meeting is to expose Tucker's plan to Quinn. Uh-oh. Cedric's plan is pretty simple. I'm going to tell Quinn about Tucker's plan. The idea being next week, Quinn's going to be HOH and he's going to target Tucker. It's not a terrible plan. I really don't hate it. I think the execution was actually pretty okay too. Obviously, I think if I'm Quinn, I'm thinking like, hey, why are you just telling me this now? But Tucker did kind of approach him the night before, so it's not like there was a huge gap in time. I don't care about this Kenny and Tucker conversation. That's an echo chamber. So they expose the plan to Quinn. Quinn is obviously surprised. Before this even, or maybe after, Cedric talks to Tucker and says, Tucker, this Quinn plan, I don't think it's going to happen. I would recommend you use the veto on yourself. Which is kind of crazy already by Cedric, because Cedric has the opportunity to snipe Tucker out of the game now, even though the AI arena makes it really difficult. But anyways. He says, Tucker, you should just use the veto on yourself. I think I'm going to put up MJ. And Tucker refuses on principle. He says, I've gone too far. I can't back down now. Which is insane because he absolutely could back down. He could use the veto on himself. And think about it this way, right? Everyone's talking about like, you know what? Tucker, he's in such a bad spot. He can't win. You know, if he used the veto on himself this week, he would have 3 different competitions to try to save himself next week. He'd play in HOH, he'd play in Veto, he'd play in AI Arena. One of them would have like 13 people in them, one of them would have 6, one of them would have 3. There's an over 50% chance Tucker just wins his safety again. like, honestly, unless he's backdoored, but it's kind of hard to backdoor people when there's 3 nominees like this. In which case he still has 2 chances. It's pretty bonkers. Not great. But he doesn't use the veto on himself. We get to the ceremony. after all the shenanigans. By the way, there's also another subplot that we haven't mentioned of Brooklyn kind of trying to convince MJ not to use the power. Which, let me say, I think that's a bad move by Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn's big problem is she's too loyal to the Pentagon. Because I think Brooklyn has, like, a relationship with Mackenzie and with Leah and with some of these other people that the other members of the Pentagon don't have. I don't think she should be advocating for MJ to put herself in danger. And it might have been, like, actual real advice from Brooklyn, too. I'm not even certain she was trying to trick her. And it really seemed to everyone watching the feeds that Brooklyn convinced MJ successfully to not use the power, which would have meant the three people on the block were Kenny, who volunteered for the block and wants to go home, Tucker, who wants to win the game but volunteered for the block and won the veto and didn't use it on himself, and MJ, who has a power that expires literally next week, who is on the block and chose not to use it on herself. But she did use it. MJ gets named the replacement nom. Seemingly, Tucker still takes Angela off the block, thinking Quinn's going to go up, even though he was kind of told, or directly told, that Quinn wouldn't be on the block. And is blindsided by the replacement nom being MJ. MJ uses the power, and now we have a shit show situation where America's veto will be used or has been used, and the replacement nom will be named Thursday night, only minutes before the eviction. I think Brooklyn's killing it. I think she's doing an absolute great job. I think her trying to trick MJ might backfire a little bit, but ultimately, like, MJ probably would have been safe on the block, but, you know, you should still use it. Is there anything going on in this Brooklyn-Rabina conversation? Yeah, it seems like they're skeptical of Quinn, but Brooklyn's doing a great job. So we have America's veto, and this leads me to my my main topic of today, and I want to brainstorm a little bit. I'm gonna run a poll right now, okay? As far as I've seen, there's been 4 main people who have been kind of placed as nominees potentially for this replacement nom. Wait, Cedric and Quinn talking? Let me hear. It's going to be super odd. I put a poll in the chat. I think Quinn, Camelia, and Joseph are the names I've heard the most as potential replacement noms. So I'm curious what you guys think. Poll is active. If we vote Quinn, it emboldens the Tucker side of things. More fun feeds. I don't know. I think the feeds are going to be fun regardless. If Tucker's in the house, I just think it'll crush Quinn's morale and make him play a lot more passively. I love the way Cedric's playing. So I see most people voted Cam. Right now, my vote is very confidently for Cam as the replacement nom, and there's a couple of reasons. Number one, the Cam Leah thing. I don't need to see more of it. Number two, I think Cam is much more likely than just about anyone in the house, except maybe Cedric, but he's not eligible, to beat Kenny in the AI arena. And my ultimate goal is for Kenny to be evicted this week. Kenny's not a real player, so I want him gone. I also think Cam is one of these people who will end up in that guys alliance situation, which is kind of why I want Cam over Leah on the block. I don't want the jocks to all just get together and, it doesn't feel like that's the case, but it feels like it was a possibility and Cam was down for it. Cam might be worse than Devin BB16. I don't think so. Devin was something else. But I think Cam is the right vote. I think he might get thrown under the bus in this edit on Wednesday. I think more likely Quinn will be. But I think Cam's a possibility, and that might actually give him a chance to be nominated. I think more than likely Quinn will be put up as the replacement nom. He's gotten, because here's the way the vote works. They're voting for who they hate the most, essentially. Who's your least favorite house guest? I wish the vote was vote to save your favorite house guest, right? So you get to vote for whoever you want, and whoever gets the least amount of votes would be put up on the block. That would be a much better system for me. It'd be much harder for production to kind of influence the vote. Obviously, they could by giving people very little airtime, but basically, whoever gets the villain edit on Wednesday is going to be put up. It's very simple. And Quinn has had way too much screen time. I bet Quinn at this point of the season has the third or fourth most supporters and the most haters, and he's going to be, as a result of this vote, put up. I legit think if they did a path to power right now, top 4, I think Quinn's top 4. Is that a crazy thing? Am I way off base with that? Because who else would get it? You know what I mean? Tucker, probably. So he's a very polarizing house guest, but casuals hate Angela, whoever's against her. I don't think the casuals like Quinn. He's been given a lot of airtime. That's the biggest deal. He was 7th. Okay, not bad. Tucker, T-Core, Chemo, and Quinn. I don't think Chemo or T-Core have gotten enough screen time. Rabina and Quinn are chatting. Let's see. Wait, is there a blow up by the pool here? Oh, it's Joseph, not Tucker. It's less interesting. Rabina is putting 18 disclaimers. Who is in this 5-person alliance? In the Pentagon is Quinn, Cedric, Cam, Chelsea, and Brooklyn. It used to be the core was Cam, Cedric, and Chelsea, but now they're sus on Cam. So Quinn's lying about having told Chemo. I don't think that'll be exposed, right? I think that's unlikely to bite him in the ass. He's telling people he told Chemo? Okay. Got it. I had zero intention of using it. It's crazy. I mean, his story's a little bit goofy. I think what he should say is, like, I told Chemo, and honestly, I regretted it because I shouldn't have told anybody. And that's it. Does Quinn know who exposed him? I don't know if he knows that, like, Chemo told Tucker, and that's what started everything. I don't really like this conversation from Robina. Like, Robina shouldn't be, like, investigating. You know what I mean? She should just be going with it, saying it's not a big deal. I trust you, Quinn. Especially because Quinn's going to be HOH next week. Robina acting like she's been slighted. Yeah. It is weird. That's the thing. Like, Quinn's on the bottom, but everyone has to kiss his ass because he has an HOH. If Quinn gives up with America's veto, do you think they'll vote him out? No, I don't. I think everyone's against Tucker right now, and he's a big physical threat. You vote out Tucker because everyone who keeps Quinn is going to be safe the following week because Quinn's HOH. And it's not like that dangerous to keep him around because the power expires. I really hope after you play the deepfake HOH, you're not allowed to play in the next HOH. I really hope. Like, I hope once you play it, you can't play in the next week, even though that's clearly not going to be the case, obviously. We know how this works at this point. He might have to throw it. That's what I mean. Yeah, like, obviously, he'd have to play in it so he could theoretically keep it a secret, but I hope he would have to throw it. It's going to be more like Jag, 100%. More like Cameron. More like me, even. Both these conversations are horrible. Yeah, I just don't like Robina's approach here. Like, if I'm Quinn, I'm feeling like, oh, Robina doesn't trust me at all. Because usually when people talk to you, they're giving you, like, the nice version. You know, like, when I'm talking to Felicia, that's the nicest Felicia's going to be talking about me all day. So if this is the nicest Robina's going to be about Quinn, that's a red flag. It's crazy 3 different people played HOH after they won last season. I think Cameron and me should have been allowed to play HOH. I think that's fair. I think Cameron 100%. Me, I'm kind of on the fence, but I think overall I should be able to play. Because, like, Cameron obviously didn't get a real HOH because his target was saved. And for me, I think, like, there was a whole week in between. One of my target had a 50% chance coming back in the house, and I didn't even get, like, the privilege of being HOH in terms of, like, it's not like I had a week to be in the HOH room and dominate the house and make my alliance. Like, I think it's a little bit more up in the air, though, about myself. But I think Cam definitely should have been able to play again. Jag being able to play again is the most ridiculous. Jag is the only one that made no sense to me. Well, it makes sense. I get it. It's just stupid. I get their logic is like, we have to be able to let him play so he can keep it secret. How would you do in this season? I think I would do fine. I think I would do the same in just about every season, and it would come down to comps towards the final 7-ish. T-Core Cedric, all right. I'm going to be streaming for another 5-10 minutes. This is a very unplanned stream. I just wanted to talk about everything. Just so we're on the same page about what I'm advocating for, and we'll be able to talk about it a lot tomorrow. I'm going to stream for like probably 3 or 4 hours in the morning, or like, at like noon, and then a night stream as well. So we'll have a lot of time to talk tomorrow. We'll do the player rankings. We'll do the news if there's anything new, and we'll do the stock watch form. We'll do all that stuff tomorrow. But today I just wanted to kind of check in. But so we're on the same page right now. My vote is for Cam to go up on the block. The reasons are I think he has a better chance of beating Kenny. I think he's more likely to be part of this big guys alliance. That's why I'm preferring Cam over Leah. I also don't want to discourage Quinn or Joseph from playing the way they've been playing. And, that's kind of where I stand. Do you think they'll continue with the equitable comps, or they start to be more physical? Big Brother loves physical comps. Like, we have we've like a long sample size of the past like 5-6 seasons of this bullshit. Through 2 weeks of competitions is not going to convince me otherwise, but I hope I'm wrong. I'm voting Cam right now. I think the Quinn voters are silly. I think the Leah voters are fine, but I think it's slightly misguided. I think Cam is the right vote. Quinn threw Rabina under a bus last night. A lot of people are throwing Rabina under the bus. Like Rabina stocks. Let's see. Last week, what did I have her? Last week I had her 4. Right now I'd have her. I mean, Quinn would drop a lot. I think Rabina would be under Chemo and T-Core for me. Joseph and Cedric. I think she might be like here, 8 or 9 kind of spot. I think Rabina, like Brooklyn and Chelsea feel towards the top to me still. Chemo and T-Core. I really hate the way Chemo's played this week, but I think he doesn't move very much. I think T-Core might move up. Joseph probably stays around 7. I think Cedric I might move up. Well, when we all said Rabina was too high, we had a point. Everyone was agreeing on my Rabina ranking this time. Do you think voting Cam will line up with Casual's votes, though? Look, I think Cam has gotten very little airtime, but like the only other people Casuals would vote for, like Casuals are going to vote for Quinn, and it's going to be Quinn. I feel very confident about this, but I think Cam is the right vote for us. I think there's a chance he might get thrown under the bus in the Wednesday edit, and it's not like he's beloved by the Casuals. So that's my vote. Feeds went down. All right, that'll be it, y'all. I'm gonna get off. Just a quick hour stream. Another sponsor coming soon. One of our favorites. So I'm excited about that. What time is the slop on? I think it's 6 Central, 7 Eastern, I think. But I'm gonna get off. Be live tomorrow at around 12:15 Central, something like that. So stay tuned. That'd be fun. 7 Eastern. Yeah, 6 Central, 7 Eastern. I will see you guys then. Is anyone live? Any of the homies? Let's see. Taryn. I think Taryn is just doing Taryn's just doing like the chat, right? It's not actually him live. Yeah, it's just his chat. All right. I'll look. If you guys want to chat, you guys can just chat in here. I don't want to, I don't want to disturb their chat, if that makes sense.